These are all movies that were not very well received, that most people consider just like they trash these movies, but I get some sick enjoyment out of them.
Welcome to my nightmare of the prime time.
In this video, guys, I will be discussing my favorite guilty pleasure horror movies. And because I just love ranking things, like I just love saying this one is better than the other, I took my favorite top 10 and I will be ranking them. Guys, fair warning, okay? If you are unfamiliar with what guilty pleasure means, these are bad movies, terrible writing, horrid effects, bad acting, just low quality, just bad movies all around. But I love a mediocre horror movie. I love a bad horror movie. And honestly, I really love a mediocre bad action movie. But we're just here talking horror today. These are all movies that were not very well received, that most people consider just like they trash these movies, but I get some sick enjoyment out of them. Ultimately, a movie should entertain, and these 10 for me are highly entertaining. I did cheat a bit and I sprinkled in a few extra titles. Let's get right into our 10 guilty pleasure horror movies, and I really feel like my number one will be a bit surprising. Number 10, Death Note from 2017. Now, I only watched this because my little sister is obsessed with anime, and this is based off of an anime. So that's why I watched it, and I saw this. Y'all, this movie is bad. I went to my little sister like, oh, is this your king? Like, but according to my sister, this is like a terrible representation of the original anime. So I won't judge anime based off of Netflix's Death Note. Death Note is about an idiot kid who ends up with this book where you put someone's name in and they end up dead. He also has this nitwit girlfriend with a sudden bloodlust that just comes out of nowhere. Now, the lure of this book and the little demon thing that comes with it is interesting, but the way the entire plot plays out is a bit muddled and honestly nonsensical. Overall, the writing just feels sloppy. The characters do not feel very well thought out or fleshed out. This was one of those movies that just feels like a series of things happening. They just make stuff up as they go along. For example, the character of Elle, when I tell y'all they were literally making stuff up, they tell us, Elle, eat this candy because it'll make your mind sharp and you could stay up for 9,200 hours. What? Candy does not do that. Like, I don't know where y'all, I am so obsessed with candy. I eat so much candy. Baby, candy don't make me stay awake for 9,200,000 hours, and it don't make my mind sharp. My mind is a little dull. Like, did they just literally were making stuff up? The movie with its rules and different stuff is very inconsistent all over the place. Nothing makes any damn sense. The movie does not follow its own rules. The writing is sloppy. Like, y'all, it's just idiot teens, dumb stuff happening. It's just freaking bad. Number 9, ATM from 2012. Because I'm a masochist and love to suffer, this one is making the list. Late at night, 3 nitwit co-workers end up trapped in an ATM building by a madman after stopping late at night for some pizza. Something like that, child, happened. They was at an office party, wanted to get pizza. Talk about nonsensical writing and unlikable characters, child. Watching this movie is literally painful. ATM just might be the most frustrating and annoying movie I have ever seen in my entire life. But I do get sick pleasure and enjoyment out of watching it. Every single thing the characters do are just dumb. It is really just the most idiotic story ever written in cinema history. The madman, for example, is supposed to be this mastermind where he has these drawn up plans of the ATM to the point that he knows the range and angles of the cameras, but he show up without no tools or weapons. Everything is stupid. Now, one thing I will give the movie is I do like when the girl is talking about random, violence or a series of random things and how we have this illusion of safety. I always say there's no such thing as a safe neighborhood. You can encounter danger anywhere. One of my favorite quotes, I want to say it's by Helen Keller, but don't quote me. I mean, quote me on the quote, but don't quote me on who the quote is from. I think it's Helen Keller. But she says, security is an illusion. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men experience it. So I really love that speech that the girl gives on that whole illusion of safety. And I feel like the idea of that and the idea of this movie, it could have been good, but baby, no, the execution, it wasn't actually good, but it could have been. I love an isolated location, as I always say. I even like the fact that the killer has no real motive, just a random act of violence, which, by the way, is another terrible movie that I enjoy. Random Acts of Violence from 2019 with Jordana Brewster. So check that out. But ATM is one of those movies that's a good idea in theory, but it really falls short. I am all for suspending some damn belief for a movie, but ATM takes it way too far. Everything is so contrived to the point that everybody's just stupid. Like this security guard that's in, y'all, okay, I don't get that in the way, but yeah. Number 8, Stay Out, Stay Alive from 2019. 5 friends camping discover gold in a hidden mine and slowly start to turn on each other. Typical Native American cursed land horror plot. Cast of, I don't know who the hell these people are. Now, we get some pretty horrendous acting in this one. I really feel like Stay Out, Stay Alive might be the worst acting of this list, and that's saying a lot. Yeah, we get genius dialogue like, you're a man, put her in her place, and it said seriously. There's a girl in a cocktail dress on the camping. Y'all, I don't know what's happening. Now I'm not a fan of the pacing. Honestly, the first act is pretty drab when they're introducing the characters and their relationships. But once we actually get to the mind and the meat of the story pops off, it does start to pick up. And that's where I really get my enjoyment, is from the second act through the end. Other than the horrendous acting, I honestly think it's pretty standard fare for this kind of movie. My biggest gripe for Stay Out, Stay Alive is the way they add in this park ranger. A lot of stuff with the park ranger just makes no sense, and it feels like contrived way to add in conflict. Very by the numbers, very obvious how everything will unfold, but it's entertaining nonetheless, in my opinion. But one thing I gotta mention that is just so stupid. So the way this all pops off is it's these two sisters. One of the sisters is pops off because the mine was hidden. She steps and falls down. You gotta go down. It's into the ground. She falls. It's a rock stuck on her leg. She can't move, right? Baby, rain start coming in. It's starting to flood down there, right? And she has to confess to her sister that her sister's boyfriend got her pregnant. And the psycho boyfriend go to take his foot, step on her to hold her underwater, trying to drown her. She's telling her sister, please, I'm sorry, help me. The sister turn her back, leave up out the mine. After seeing her boyfriend step on her sister to hold her underwater, she leaves. She climbs out. Then she looks down as the boyfriend about to leave, and she's like, help her, that's my sister. She's surprised that the person you left to drown is drowning. Y'all, it's just so ridiculous. Oh my God. Okay, number 7, Feast. From 2005. Do you guys remember that Project Greenlight thing with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck from way back in the day? I do. And I remember the first time I saw Feast. We have a group of people locked inside of a bar fighting off monsters. Feast is one of those movies that I honestly used to think was legitimately a good movie. I loved Feast from the first time I ever saw it. I have rewatched it psychotically over the years, a psychotic number of times, and I have always felt like this was a solid, well-made movie. But within the last maybe year or two, it starts to feel a lot more mediocre. And I would definitely now classify Feast as a bad movie. Now, there is a lot this movie gets right. I love the concept, the little, kind of cheesy, quirky, over the topness of the movie, the B movie vibe they go for, the disgusting gore. Y'all know I am just a sick gore fiend. It gets nasty, okay? The pacing is on point. It starts off pretty fun and we get to the action quickly. It's a creature feature, high octane movie that does not take itself too seriously. Never a dull moment. And even though I feel like it's not necessarily as good as I always thought it was, it is still very highly entertaining. But for all of its good, some elements just have not aged very well in my opinion. Some parts are just very lame, cheesy, not in a good way. Because, sometimes cheesy can be good, like a cheesy 80s quirk to something. But no, it's like, no, it's cheesy in like a bad way. The music is horrendous. Also, the lack of any real story, it's very silly. Feast is just the epitome of nasty gore, action-packed, just no story. Characters don't matter. And overall, I do still, I have such a love for this movie. But objectively, I just feel like, it's not all as I have always hyped it up to be. And Feast also has the type of action scenes that I hate, which is where the action with the monsters is shot like it's really fast, shaky, cutaway. You can't really clearly see the monsters. An honorable mention, Feast 2. Fair warning, they really ramp up the insanity, which doesn't even seem possible, but babes, they do. And I will say there is a scene in Feast 2 that I consider to be the greatest scene in cinema history. Comment below if you know the scene I'm referring to. The first time I ever saw that scene, I swear to God, I have never been so shocked and just laughing at the same time my entire life. The Feast movies, in my opinion, though, are not for everyone. If you don't have like a morbid, sick kind of sense of humor, particularly when you get into the sequel, it's not gonna really be for you. Maybe that first one, and Feast 3 is truly not worth mentioning. I'm only mentioning it to say that if you watch it, I did not recommend it. Number 6, Zombie Apocalypse from 2011. I mean, look at the name, babes. It don't get more generic than naming your movie Zombie Apocalypse. After a zombie plague wipes out most of the population, separate groups of survivors band together to fight through the dead and make it to a rumored safe zone. We have Ving Rhames, we have the white girl from Hustle and Flow and 8 Mile, and many other familiar projects. Zombie Apocalypse is just the epitome of low mother freaking budget. Everything about this movie on a technical scale is horrendous. The effects, the CGI, and you know what? Honestly, while I can obviously with the eye detect some bad CGI, but I'm not the biggest stickler when it comes to CGI and effects not being good. I'm truly not. Of course, when it comes to my horror, I 1000% prefer practical effects, but bad effects for me do not make or break my movie experience. I know some people can be a stickler when it comes to effects. I'm just not that person. Like it's not that big of a deal to me. But y'all, it takes some pretty damn bad effects for me to really haunt y'all. I feel like Zombie Apocalypse might have the worst effects I have ever seen in my entire life. Baby, they couldn't even get fire and smoke right. Like, y'all couldn't just light a fire safely on set so we could get fire and smoke. Like, it looks so... The shanky ass looking zombies, the makeup is literally laughable, but I enjoy the group of characters here. Very thin characters, but enjoyable. We don't get the typical a-hole character, which is always irks my nerves. One character does annoy me, but it's not that dramatic. But it's just because she's like a really irksome, over-the-top damsel in distress character. All she do is stand around while everybody else fight and die. Just the run-of-the-mill zombie story. My biggest gripes are the fact that we talk about this runner zombie, which is supposed to be the most dangerous type, but we don't ever see it in the movie. I guess, we couldn't get no extras that could really, run, so we just couldn't get the runners. Number 5, Day of the Dead, 2008. A small town gets overrun by zombies. I don't really acknowledge this as a remake of the original Day of the Dead. I just take it as a standalone film. Y'all, what award should Ving Rhames receive for being on this list twice? He is the only actor on this list twice, and I feel like that really deserves something special. We also have Mina Savari, who I love from a few other bad movies. Hunt Club, which came out last year. Also the movie Locked In, which I really enjoyed. And the horror movie Don't Blink. This is my girl for a bad but entertaining movie. But most notably, you would know her from American Beauty and American Pie. We also have Nick Cannon and the girl that played Tony on Raising Kanan. I see you, white girl. Now, some better decisions. I actually think this could have been a solid zombie movie, but it's not. We have some fun gore. It's outlandish. The movie feels like it does not take itself too seriously. I mean, there's a vegetarian zombie. Unfortunately, everything with this movie feels generic. It feels very bargain brand production. Nothing special with the characters, but they're enjoyable. Solid acting for the most part. Some of the acting from a few people though feel a little over the top, but I actually enjoy the core group that we follow here. I don't even really care for Nick Cannon, but he's fine here. Like, I really have no issues with any of the characters that we follow. This is just pretty much a brainless, entertaining, fun way to kill a few hours. Mediocre effects, but the movie is gory and bloody. Now, I don't know why though. Some of the blood splatter look computer generated. Like, we couldn't just make up some blood. Like, y'all. I do not understand when you have to use computer generated blood. Like, that is just so strange to me. We get a scene as well with zombies burning in fire that looks so damn shanky. I mean, just horrendous visuals. But this is a list of bad movies. I will say though, the extras playing the zombies in this movie look like they were having the time of their life, which made them fun to watch. Number 4. Now, hear me out. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey from 2023. After Christopher Robin abandons them for college, Pooh and Piglet turn their child. It's a child fairy tale gone wrong, okay? Everyone on the planet has trashed this movie. I first watched this like a month ago on Peacock, right? And I didn't care nothing about this movie when it came out, when I heard about it. Y'all, I am not exaggerating when I say I have literally just been watching horror and Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies since I was like 2 years old. Like, I was not a kid into kid stuff other than like Ghost Rider. Okay, that was my ish. And Space Ghost Coast to Coast. That was my ish. But I really wasn't into like kiddie movies and kiddie stuff when I was a kid. I've never seen Winnie the Pooh. I've never seen Pocahontas. I've never seen The Little Mermaid, like, ever in life. I don't know. I have literally just been warped since I was a child. So I wasn't one of those people either offended that they were taking something like a child fairy tale and making it horror, and I was also not one of those people excited. I was just like, yeah, like, I'll see it because, I like horror. So, but the way people were trashing it, I was like, okay, let me try and check this out. I didn't even expect to finish the movie. I thought I was just going to check it out, see what everybody been talking about, and turn it off. I thought it was going to be the worst thing I ever saw in my life. Y'all, I mother freaking love this movie from the first time I saw it. I watched this movie like 8 times in 4 weeks. Like, I'm not it might have been more than that. I get so much enjoyment out of this dumbass movie. It is definitely as terrible as everyone says it is, but for me, it's so bad it's good. And I actually like a lot of different concepts, and like I like how it opens with the drawing telling the story of Christopher and the animals. I like the scene when they have the drawing of Pooh and Piglet dragging Christopher away. But y'all, come on now, we have the Bear and Pig as men in Timbs with plastic masks from Party City. We have Pooh randomly drooling honey. Pooh and Piglet run one of the girls head over with a car in slow motion, popping her damn eyeball out. How is this not a good time for everybody watching? My favorite part of this movie, though, is the guy playing Christopher. Oh my God, that damn actor, I loved him. Every time he was screaming, Pooh, please, Piglet, please, please. Y'all, he was crying and yelling, please. So I was like, buddy, they not listening to you. Silly old bear. Silly old bear. It was just so, y'all, I love it. I love this stupid ass movie. Pooh randomly has like a long rope of hair just hanging on the wall ready to beat niggas ass with. Like, I don't know what was and we have a point where Pooh's height literally changes. Hey, yo, what you been doing to them girls? Like, yo. I'm sorry. This movie is just so hilarious. Hey, yo, what you been doing to them girls? You can clearly see Pooh's height in correlation to the men who come to help. When Buddy hits him with the bat or whatever the hell, then suddenly Pooh is like 50 feet taller than the other guy. My nigga, Pooh, how you just grew? Like, y'all, this movie is just so unserious. It is so unserious. I like to really sit with things. I don't like to just proclaim stuff that's very new. But I really feel like if I revisit this topic in a few years, Blood and Honey might be my number one. Like, I just saw this movie again this morning, y'all. Like, this is really turning into my comfort movie. Like, Seinfeld is my comfort TV show. Blood and Honey is really turning into my comfort horror movie. Like, I mark my words, I really feel like in 20 years, Blood and Honey will be a cult classic. Because this movie is so unserious. Number 3, The Thaw from 2009. A research crew in the Arctic discovers a melting glacier that releases a deadly prehistoric parasite. We have Val Kilmer and we have Paige from The Last House on the Left remake. I really don't know none of the other folks. I feel like The Thaw is very effective for folks who hate bugs and any type of creepy crawly things. Even with the terrible effects, there are a few scenes that are honestly hard for me to watch and stomach because I mother freaking hate bugs. There's a scene where the little bug is like coming out the lady's forehead. Oh my God. Like, it kills me. I completely am with the guy in the movie who's like, I have this thing. You know, it's a medical thing. It's a phobia. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Look, everybody in this movie is motherfucking stupid. Like, touching infected stuff with your bare hands, not taking a gun from the completely unhinged guy when you get the chance. Our main girl, extremely annoying. Like, there's a character who's supposed to be like the a-hole of the group. He's more likable than her. But the way this movie makes my skin crawl is why I love it. My biggest annoyance though is the rate of infection, symptom of infection all over the place. Like, it's very inconsistent. The performances are fine. The story is fine. They play well on like bug phobia, global warming fear. Unlike zombies or something like that, the threat here does feel a lot more real. Glaciers are actually melting. Who knows what could have been frozen hundreds of years ago. I would have liked, though, if the cold were more of a threat. Kind of like the movie The Thing, where we're in the Arctic. Why the fuck are we running outside without jackets? Like, you would have thought they were in California. Like, the cold and being in the Arctic did not play a part. And I feel like if we had the cold be more of a threat, it could have added to that claustrophobic feeling and added to like a viable threat of our options are either stay inside with the parasite or go out and possibly freeze to death. Number 2, Cabin Fever 3, Patient Zero from 2014. A group of friends end up on a remote island with a research facility where a deadly virus has been unleashed. Now, I am not a fan of cabin fever. And I never saw the sequel, or if I did see the sequel, it was so long ago I can't remember. Y'all, am I the only person who, like, if you haven't seen a movie in ages and you only saw it once, like, you don't remember? It's a lot of times where I watch a movie on rewatch and it's literally like I'm watching it for the first time. So if I saw Cabin Fever 2, I just don't remember. But Cabin Fever 3 is the one in the franchise that I really enjoy. We get some really disgusting, fun gore here. Y'all know I love anything disgusting and gore. There is a freaking, like, sick, psychotic fight between two infected women with, like, exposed, like, flesh falling off, exposed muscle and jawbones and scalps missing. Honestly, the fight is dumb and don't make no sense, because you got the one infected lady that's fighting, trying to get off the island and stuff. But baby, you of all people know this disease. You gonna either die here, die on the boat. It don't matter where you go. You are going to. So y'all, that whole thing of her trying to get off the island, it didn't make any sense to me. And my biggest gripe with Patient Zero is the fact that the movie is so darkly lit. Baby, we want to see the gore. Just, oh my, worst acting ever. But y'all, yeah, I love this one so freaking much. Now, my number one guilty pleasure horror. This is my comfort horror until Blood and Honey knocks it out of number one. Number one, The Bye Bye Man from 2017. 3, how the hell did they make it into College Friends? Unleash a Mysterious Evil. This is my movie. I put this movie on so often, it is honestly embarrassing. Definitely a bad movie, but I really don't think it's like the worst movie ever. It's a silly, ridiculous little horror story, but watchable, and objectively, it's entertaining enough way to pass time. The story is all over the place. It's slightly incoherent. It's a complete mess, but it's fun. I really enjoy this. I don't even know why sometimes, honestly, there is no rhyme or reason. Like, I just really enjoyed this movie from the first time I saw it. And I actually feel like the movie starts off promising with the opening scene. We have this reporter that, like, kills his neighbors. He got to kill everybody that know of the Bye Bye Man. But the movie can't get its own rules and stuff right surrounding this whole Bye Bye Man, because the reporter is going to kill the neighbors, and he's like, did you tell anyone? Rick, he's coming. He kills Rick, and he's telling the Bye Bye Man, I'm going to stop you. Wait, what are you talking about? The Bye Bye dog is like eating the folks that the reporter killed, and he's like, you won't win. I won't let you. The Bye Bye Man kills the people that know his name, so we kill the people that know his name. Like, we're doing the same. Y'all, it don't make no damn sense. The 3 college students, literally buffoons, so freaking annoying, but this movie is my ish. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let me know in the comments some of your guilty pleasure horror movies. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe to support the channel. It really makes a difference. Thank you so much for being over here for Pretty Girls Love Horror, all things horror content. I have so much horror content coming up for you guys. And if you are interested in movie reviews and recaps not centered on just the horror genre, you can find me on my King Nikki TV channel. But we are doing only horror, all things horror over here on this channel.